The legend of the Jersey Devil has always fascinated me. Growing up in southern New Jersey, I heard many tales about this scary creature that roams the Pine Barrens. Its two origin stories stuck with me. The first involves Mother Leeds, a woman in the Pine Barrens of southern New Jersey in the 18th century, who, upon discovering she was pregnant with her 13th child, cursed it in frustration, declaring it would be the devil. When the child was born, it transformed into a monstrous creature with wings, hooves, and a tail, attacking its family before disappearing into the woods. The second story suggests that the devil himself took up residence in the Pine Barrens. When a young woman lost in the woods was taken in by him, she became his prisoner, fell in love against her will, and bore his son. She died, and the devil moved on, leaving behind an immortal, evil child, not quite human and not quite animal. The details of these stories were etched into my mind, and my friends and I couldn't help but wonder about the truth behind the legend. So, we decided to make our own scary movie about the Jersey Devil. We ventured into the Pine Barrens with cameras, excited but nervous. The forest was dark and silent, with only the occasional rustle of leaves or an owl's hoot. The deeper we went, the more isolated we felt. Shadows danced on the trees, making our imaginations run wild. Throughout the night, we kept hearing strange sounds in the distance. At first, we thought it was just wild animals. Sometimes we even saw glowing eyes far off in the dark, but we didn't think much of it. As night fell, every sound made our hearts race. We were on edge, feeling like we were in our own horror movie. After hours of searching, we grew tired and decided the Jersey Devil was just a legend. Little did we anticipate the sinister turn our journey would take. We were about to uncover a truth far more horrifying than any legend could have prepared us for. It was my friend Davy who first noticed the noises getting louder. "Do you guys hear that?" he asked, looking worried. We all stopped and listened. At first it sounded like growling, but then it became clear. It was the revving of engines. Suddenly, strangers on quads and dirt bikes burst through the trees. They wore masks made from the faces of real animals. They had shotguns strapped to their vehicles and pistols and knives on their belts. Panic set in as we realized we were being chased. "Run!" shouted Ivy, and we all took off through the woods. Branches scratched our arms and faces as we ran as fast as we could. The strangers shouted and laughed as they pursued us. We tried to lose them by darting between trees and bushes, but they were too fast. One by one, they caught us. They grabbed Ivy first, then Davy, then Jeray, and finally me. They tied our hands behind our backs with rough rope and forced us to walk, sometimes dragging us with the quads, back to a small cabin near a large bonfire. The ground around it was littered with trash, beer, and liquor bottles. Inside the cabin, they pushed us to the floor. We whispered to each other, trying to stay calm. "What are they going to do to us?" Ivy asked, her voice trembling. We overheard our abductors talking. "They'll make good jerky," one of them said. "Not before we give them to our daddy below," another replied. "Leave the chest muscle for our brother. He is the firstborn, after all. He likes the chest muscle." They intended to kill, sacrifice, and eat us. They were some sort of hick cult devoted to the devil. And who was the brother? Could that be the Jersey Devil? My heart pounded with fear. One of the kidnappers came to the cabin and took Jeray. We waited in terror for a long time. I don't know how long, really. Our sense of time was totally gone amongst the chaos. Then, we heard screaming in the distance. Our captors laughed. We heard the clinking of glass, one of them insisting another drink. When they came back, there was a new person with them, wearing an animal mask. He entered the cabin alone. Bloodstains covered his arm and his clothes matched those of our friend. "Jeray?" I whispered, hardly believing my eyes. It was him. For some reason, they gave him the option to join them, but he didn't know why. He agreed in the hopes of getting us all out. They had made several deep cuts into the top of his arm by the shoulder in a pattern, then cauterized it all with a hot piece of metal. Jure didn't say a word. Instead, he motioned for us to be quiet. Quickly, he untied our ropes while the others were distracted. "We have to go. Now," he whispered urgently. We crept out of the cabin and into the woods. Our hearts raced as we ran, trying to be as quiet as possible. The cult members were too distracted to notice at first, but then we heard shouts behind us. They had realized we were gone and were coming after us. We ran faster than we ever had before. The cult members chased us, but they were stumbling and falling. I can only assume they had done way more drinking since capturing us. Finally, we made it to a road. We kept running. Just when we heard the bikes closing in around us again, we saw a car and started shouting, waving our arms and blocking the road. It stopped and picked us up. We sped away, leaving the cult members behind. We made a report to the police, but nothing came of it. When the police searched the woods, they found several old illegal campsites on the public land, but no cabins. Back at home, we were safe, but things were never the same. Jure had changed. He grew distant and eventually disappeared completely. His family reported him as missing. One night, as I was at home, I saw glowing eyes in the distant woods. I knew it was him. I couldn't tell if he was protecting me or hunting me. We all wondered if he had truly escaped the cult or if they were still trapped by its influence. The legend of the Jersey Devil still haunts me. The Pine Barrens feels like a place of terror. People who claim to have sighted the Jersey Devil keep our memories fresh and our fear alive. Our tale serves as a warning to others. Some legends are real, and some truths are too dark to face.
Sometimes the truth is more terrifying than fiction. What are some of your local legends? Do you believe they are real? That they truly happened? Let me know in the comments. Hit that like button to show your appreciation. It really helps me out. And Simon says, subscribe for more haunting content.